I was on, I can't even remember where it was now. I was somewhere online the other day and I saw this deck. It is called the Magical Nature Tarot. And I didn't see but like maybe 3 or 4 cards. This is the box. I only saw 3 or 4 cards and I was like, you know what? I got to show this deck. So I reached out to the creator, and the creator sent me this deck as a gift for the purposes of doing an honest review. So that's what we're going to do right now. My name is QueenAusetHeru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to someone else who may want to see this deck too. If you want to get a personal private reading done, please email me or hit me up on my social media. Underneath this video, you will find all of my information. You will also find the link at the very top. I will post the link to where you can buy a legitimate copy of this beautiful deck. Okay? And I'm only saying that it's beautiful up front because I love the picture on the box, and the few pictures I saw, I'm already smitten. I'm already like, yeah, I know I'm going to like this. So the question is, how much am I going to like it? That's the real question. So likewise, I have Ask an Aquarius merchandise, and the link to that is underneath this video, along with the link to my Patreon. So let's get started because I'm really excited. Now I'm going to tell you before I open it the reason why I was so excited. I was so excited because the person that was showing it talked about one of the most important aspects of this deck. And it is the kind of paper this deck is printed on. So listen to what it says. It says Magical Nature Tarot cards are printed on a new kind of cardstock called Eco Herbage. It is a sustainable stock made from grass and leafy parts of plants. The box is made from 100% recycled paper, made with love and revolution. So that's what made me fall in love with it. I was like, wait, what? The very paper itself is the earth. So when they called it magical nature, they meant that definitely, okay? So this is what came in the box. I'll show you what else was in the box. This was in the box too. Isn't that pretty? I'm guessing that must be the Hierophant. Oh, and it does not have a guidebook with it. The guidebook is online, and that QR code I just showed you was the guidebook. And then there was a lovely note from the creator. Thank you so much, Justin and Rebecca. And that was it. Now I'm going to show you the cards. So they're in a tuck box, and you guys know that tuck boxes are not my favorite, only because they are not very sturdy, and my fingers, I don't know what's wrong with me. It must be a me problem because other people don't have this problem. I destroy the tops of these boxes. I just don't know. I just don't know. But this is on recycled paper. So this is one of the most green decks I have. I believe my Oak Ash and Thorn and my Smoke Ash and Embers, I believe those are also eco-friendly. But this is taking it to a whole nother level. Alright, now before we get started, oh my goodness, I really like the way the paper feels. I wish I could show you guys. It feels really nice. Can you see the texture coming off of it on camera? It's very texturized. I've never felt anything like this before ever. Here are the backs. As you can see, they are the size of a standard tarot deck. They're kind of thin. They still snap back though, and I think that I was wondering how long the paper would last, and I think the ink is special ink too from what I read, but they feel really beautiful. Look at that. That is awesome. Awesome. All right, well, let's take a look at the that's the world card. For some reason, let me see if it's in order, because the world card is last. Okay, and the Fool, they're not in order, but I'm going to show them to you in order because I want to show you the major arcana first. So let's get started. Now that we know they're a good size, they should be easy to shuffle too, because they feel really, let me show you, I got the whole thing in my hand and that is not that thick. So these should be really easy to shuffle. Oh, look at this. What really takes me is the artwork. So immediately we have people of color. And I'm like, ooh, they're brown people. Okay. I'm really loving the cardstock. I love the way it feels in my hand. Let's see what else we get. Here's our magician. And the art itself is very different. It's kind of textured looking. This is awesome. I love the way the hand is in the air. And I love how simple, look at how simple the picture is. But if you know how to read tarot, if you're somebody who's been reading for a long time, these symbols are more than enough. The moon card, here's our high priestess. So as we can see, the name is at the bottom, the number is at top, and the number seems to be in the card twice, here and here. So I did notice that. Yeah, but I'm really feeling the way they did the art. It's kind of minimalist, but it's still so beautiful and so textured. Wow. I feel like this is a very it's like a love project. You know, something that people do. It's like a love letter to the earth, you know, a love letter to us all. I think it's awesome. I really do. Here's our emperor. Emperor is the ram. So we don't just have humans, we also have animals in our deck. That was the one from the card they gave me with the QR code on the back. Our Hierophant. Wow. This is very interesting. So far, there's nothing about it I don't like. I'm really just kind of blown away. I'm surprised, like the technology of the paper has me. I also remember them saying something was special about the ink too. Let me see if it's on this thing I have next to me. Yeah, because if you go to the website, you can read all about it, because it says here that each image is collage that combines bits of natural ink monotypes and natural dye eco prints and a little bit of natural ink painting too. You can find more information about the different inks and dyes and their spiritual and or medicinal properties by checking out the online deck guide. Yeah, it's like a very spiritual vibration going on to it, so I'm not surprised that there's much more to it, because you can feel it when you touch it. When you touch the deck, it's just this kind of like, I don't know, it's like a hug. I don't know how to explain it. As soon as I pulled it, because I just pulled it out the box for the first time with you guys, and as soon as I touched it, it was like cool to the touch, and it felt comforting like angels. That was the energy I got from it. So immediately I was like, okay, I'm feeling this deck. So number 8 is our strength card. Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the textures, and I'm feeling how responsible it is, because we often have these conversations about how sustainable is tarot, you know. So I'm so glad to see people, you know, the creators, having these conversations and actually, you know, doing something about it. And this is beautiful and very unique, and it's very functional. Like, I can easily read these cards, even though there's not a lot going on. What is going on is perfect. Like this Wheel of Fortune here. It's very simple, but it's clearly the Wheel of Fortune. I can look at this and my intuition can jump off of the images that are here. And then the beauty of the touch of it and the energy that it's given off is just a bonus. I like this. I like this Justice card. Very simple, but it just, you know what it says to me? It says people working against oppression. That's what I get from this image. And I'm all about that. I'm Aquarius, and Aquarius are all about revolution. And the first thing I saw that they said was love and revolution. And I'm like, I'm with it. Let's revolt, baby. the suspended one. I also like how I've seen a lot of them have what appears to be a halo around their head. Or is that an afro? It looks like a halo. It looks like a short haircut around the halo. That's what that looks like to me. The death card. Yeah, I feel like these are the kind of cards that you can grab really for any kind of reading. Like, it doesn't really matter if it's love or money or whatever kind of reading you're doing. I feel like you could grab these and use these pretty much with anybody. Certain decks I use with certain people. Like, I have some, more masculine, more feminine, light worker, depends on what the person is into. And I feel like I could pretty much use this with any client. So I like that. Seasoned readers will be able to use these very easily. I love this image. The devil card for me is like, I love that. I often like the devil card, and it kind of worries me sometimes because I'm like, the devil card is about pessimism, but it's also about temptation. So I'm always like, you like that devil card, you're being tempted, mama. But it is often a very, I'm going to say beautifully depicted card. If you look at a lot of different decks, the devil card has a very, I'm going to say intense depiction. Sometimes beautiful, sometimes not. It depends on the situation. I've seen some devil cards where the devil was gorgeous, and I thought that really represented temptation. And other times when the devil is more scary, which comes off as more of a, a pessimism or a negativity, a treachery to me. So like I said, if you're somebody who's seasoned, it will be easy to pick up on these things. If you're somebody who's intuitive, that's another group that I think would really like this deck. This is a great intuitive reader because there is just enough for your imagination and for your intuition to springboard off of, but it's not too much. This is my card. The star card is the Aquarius card. I like this one too because if you look at how the star is like looking up at the star, usually the star is not looking at the star. Usually the person in the card is looking at the ground and the star is behind them and they're pouring water onto the ground. Aquarius, the water bearer. But I like this interpretation because when I go outside, I stare at the stars. So this makes more sense to me that the person in the picture would be looking up. Awesome moon card. Love that. Howling at the moon. Perfect symbolism. So yeah, for people who are intuitive, it goes right up your alley. Now, what if you're a brand new reader? Would you be able to read this deck? Well, if you're a brand new reader, this deck could be a slight challenge. I wouldn't say it would be a really difficult one because if you're familiar already with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, I'm going to put it like that. Maybe not the others, like if you're familiar with Thoth or more familiar with Marseille, maybe not. But if you're familiar with the Rider-Waite-Smith, which most of us are, especially in the beginning, I think you would understand the images because some of these images are very similar and some of these go rogue with their own fresh new interpretation of it. Like I said, with the star looking up instead of looking down. So I feel like if you're somebody who is familiar with the Rider-Waite-Smith, then yes, definitely you will be able to use this. And it would be a little bit of a challenge just for the cards that, aren't as familiar as others to you. But I don't feel like it would be a really difficult challenge. I feel like it would be a fun challenge. And I feel like it would kind of stretch, it would stretch your interpretations and your mind and your consciousness to other possibilities too of what the cards are talking about. Oh, I love the way they feel. As soon as I grab one to show you the next card, I keep thinking this feels beautiful. I love this. It looks like 3 different cultures to me coming together. Reminds me of the concept I learned in college of pluralism. Different cultures sharing and enjoying each other's culture. That's how I've always thought that life should be. And I always lived that way. I think that we all should share and enjoy in each other's cultures. Not appropriate each other or, harm each other. but share and celebrate each other. I think that's the way humanity is supposed to work. And that's the way I try to do it anyway. Okay. And I like that, you know, the minor, as now we're getting into the minors, you can see they're fully illustrated. But they're illustrated in an interesting way. It's like a zoom in. I like how they zoomed in. I think that's really cool. Whereas some of the other ones, you would, like this one is the Eight of Pentacles. And some of the other decks, you would see a man or a woman working on something, perfecting something. In this case, you do see somebody perfecting something, but you don't see the person. You just see their hand doing the work. Very clever. I love clever things like that. I love when artists, you know, and creators are like, okay, I want to convey this, but I want to do it in my way. This is a my way deck, and I like it. The birds are cool too. I've seen several birds so far. This is a deck that has been very well executed. The only thing I have not seen in this deck are older people. Now, mind you, we're still going to get some more people. And in all fairness, I can't tell how old some of them are. Some of them, you know, I can't really tell. Like this one, I can't tell her how old this person is. And I like that. I like that a lot. And the reason why I like it is because anybody can put themselves in that position. I like when you have that ability. The seekers are the pages. Adorable. So they've renamed the court cards. The knights are the apprentice. Very pretty. And the way that they use this ink, like as you can see, the colors aren't bright. They're not popping off the page. They're very subtle, you know. I like that. I like the softness. The mentor is the queen energy, which is cool because our queen here is a man. So it's given, because I always tell people that the court cards don't have to be masculine or feminine. It really depends on the person. Like, for example, I always get the Knight of Cups all the time, even though I'm clearly a woman. So it really goes with your energy more so than your gender. So I like that. And the ancestors are the kings, the ancestor of pentacles. So we're just going to remember them as a hierarchy. Seeker, what was it? It was seeker, apprentice, mentor, ancestor. That makes sense. Now this is the cup suit. Now you guys know you got to do the cups right if you want to get my heart. And so far, it's starting off good. It's starting off good. I like that. Oh, look at this. Look at how they represented water. Very clever. They're both holding a cup, and this is the water. Very clever. Oh, man. I can't wait to do a reading with this deck. This is really nice. And another thing, when I approached the creator to discuss this deck, they were so kind. They are so kind. I mean, their customer service was a wonderful experience. It was like, you know how you contact somebody about their product and they answer your questions, but they're really just kind of like, you know, trying to hurry up and get on to the next email, you know? But they weren't. They were just really, really kind. And it was like, you know, you could tell they care. That's why I called this like a passion project, because you could tell that they really love this project. And it's not just a cash grab. And I don't mind a cash grab. I really don't. If somebody has something, an idea or something like that, I don't mind a cash grab. As long as it's done with quality, I really don't mind. But this is not that. This is clearly not a cash grab. This is something that somebody's really cared about and wanted to put into the planet. They are really, know how that saying goes, be the change you want to see in the world? Well, this group of people is doing that. They are being the change. They're not talking about it, they being about it. And I got a lot of respect for that. And I got a lot of love for this deck, as you can see. I like that. I like the way she's walking away. And all you can see is the feet. So, like I said, I do feel like these would be awesome. What about a pairing with these? You know, I have this deck and it's called the Herbal Astrology Oracle. I know a lot of you have it because we've talked about it in the community more than once. Every tarot group I'm in, and I'm not very active in the tarot community. I know very few people. But the 2 or 3 groups that I actually talk in, Boho Tarot, Abundant Life Tarot, and Amethyst Ascension, we do give and take with each other. You know, I drop them videos and they drop me videos. So we do give and take in those groups. But for the most part, I don't know a lot of people in the community. You know how Aquarius are. We're loners. But the people who I have talked to, you know, the times that we've had, you know, conversations about decks, which is pretty frequently. I like this. That's beautiful how she has the water in her hands. It's kind of like showing that she can manipulate the water. I think that's really cute. But yeah, the people in my groups that, you know, when we sit around and talk about decks, a lot of them talked about the Herbal Astrology Oracle. And I really believe, just from sitting here looking at this, I'm going to have to test this theory later. But I think the Herbal Astrology Oracle will go good with this deck. Mostly because of the texture. I think so. I could be wrong. I would have to actually put them side by side to see. But I really do think so. But this is phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about this. I haven't seen one card so far that I did not like. I like all these interpretations. I love the way that the colors come together. I'm very curious to see how the paper and the ink last over time. That's my one question that I can't really answer. You know, right now I'm gonna have to work with them for a number of years, which I will be. So I'll get back to you guys in 5 or 6 years and tell you how my cards have held up. But that's the one thing I'm wondering about, because it is so different and it is so new to me. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to find out. Anything we can do to help each other and to help the planet, I think is a good idea. I also like the fact, I don't know, like, what, I don't know the people that did this. What is this? Justin and Rebecca. I don't know what their nationality is, but I do appreciate how well they did the hair. Oftentimes when I see African Americans or African people of African descent depicted in tarot or in art in general, the hair never, sometimes it looks perfect, but sometimes the hair doesn't quite look right. I'm looking like, this is somebody who's clearly never cornrowed before, or had a lot to do with this hair texture before, I'll say. Because our hair texture, for many of us, we all have different, all African Americans have different hair texture, but it has a tendency to be more curly than other groups. So sometimes when I see our hair depicted in art, I'm like, what the heck? Sometimes it just looks strange. It's like, okay. But in this deck, it seems like they must have looked at, you know, the hair very carefully, because the hair looks right. The way that it's sitting, the way that it stands up, the way that it moves in the cards, that is also a good, that's a win. That's definitely a win. So I can honestly say that I would give this deck a 10 out of 10. There's nothing about it I don't like. And I do think that it is an excellent addition to anybody's collection. And I think it's awesome for beginners and intuitives as well. I think there's something here that we all can get from this deck. I think it's really pretty. And I like the energy of it. It has a very calming kind of energy. There aren't any depictions here that are really like, even the devil card, which I did found to be very intense. I didn't find any of the depictions to be disturbing. I love that Four of Swords. Awesome energy for that. But I didn't find any of these to be disturbing or unnerving in any way. There's no real nudity in this deck. I mean, some people you can't tell because they're, you know, the way they're positioned. but most of them seem to have clothes on. So if you're somebody who prefers decks like that, then you would probably like that energy. I like both. I like decks with nudity, and I like decks without it. So it just depends on the deck. I'm very open-minded about the types of decks I will get, but for the most part, they all have a flair to them. I'm not really a traditionalist. Like, I don't have a copy of the Rider-Waite-Smith. I have a copy of a couple of clones, some revisions, quite a few actually, but not like the traditional one. I sold that a long time ago. I just wasn't using it. It just wasn't attractive to me, so I didn't use it. But then I got some other ones that, you know, had people of color, or they had different, you know, different things going on. I'm trying to think of the one that I have. I think it's called the Melanated Classic Tarot, if I'm not mistaken. So I have ones like that, but I'm not really a traditionalist in that sense. I do have the Toth deck. Barely use it. I used it a lot in college just to learn the system, but it really didn't call to me. But I still kept it because it is, you know, an icon. I love this. This reminds me of Harry Potter. I don't know why. Maybe because of the school image. That's cool. I like that a lot. Here's our Mentor of Swords, which is another Aquarius card. Queen of Air. So it will be Queen of Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. And here's our last card. Okay. And like I told you guys, there is a guidebook that you can, I did scan it. I scanned it when I first got it, and I looked at the guidebook. And there's a lot of information on that page. It's all kind of stuff. They tell you how you can use the cards, and they give you ideas. The website is very informative. So this is the deck. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. 10 out of 10. Please look underneath this video for the link, and go to this link and purchase this deck if you love it as much as I do. Yeah, I'm just I'm blown away. It's very, and you guys know, those of you who watch my channel know it's very infrequent that I am speechless, but I am really speechless because also I'm like touching it right now. Remember I told you guys, and this is half of it in my hand, and this is half in the other hand. And I am like, this is going to be a dream to shuffle. I don't see any problems at all being able to shuffle these cards. And for me, I'm going to tell you guys something about me. Shuffleability, as I call it, is the most important thing about a deck. If the artwork is beautiful, it will draw me to the deck. That's the initial draw. But I'm not going to use it unless I can really shuffle it and shuffle it quickly. And if I can't shuffle it quickly, because I have to do readings. I do 4 or 5 readings back to back. So if I can't, and remember, readings are by the minute. So my clients are not trying to hear me fumbling with the deck, you know. So that's another thing I like about this deck, and how I know I'm going to use it a lot, because I know I'm going to have that shuffleability factor going on. It's going to be quick to shuffle. It's going to be easy to shuffle. It's not going to hurt my hands to shuffle it. And for me, I have a lot of beautiful decks that I never use, and that's the reason, because shuffling it is too much of a chore. So you're not going to have that problem with this deck. Even if you have small hands, because remember I said they're the size of a standard size tarot deck, but even if you have small hands, you should be able to shuffle these. Now, those of you who are very crafty, that have small hands and want to do deck modifications, you actually could, I'm looking at this now, you actually could modify it by cutting straight across here. Now this is for you guys that already do deck modifications. I do not do them, because I tried to do one and destroyed the deck, so I don't do that anymore. But for those of you that are good at this, you could cut off this part right here and make it even smaller if you have small hands. So that's another option for you crafty people out there. All right, guys, you come back soon, because I got a lot more to say. See you later.